Hollywood Entertainment Screen presents Take Shelter, a famous and interesting thriller movie. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. So, at the beginning of this film, Curtis sees that there were very thick clouds in his city. It looked like there would be a very bad storm and rain now. Suddenly, the rain starts, but the strange thing was that this rain was not water rain, but oil rain. Seeing this, Curtis gets scared, and suddenly his eyes open. All this he saw was just his dream. He takes a shower and comes to the breakfast table, where we meet his wife Samantha and his daughter Hannah. Curtis himself is a construction worker, while Samantha, his wife, stitches for a boutique and financially helps Curtis. These people go to Hannah's school 3 days a week because Hannah can't speak, and to talk to her they had to learn sign language. These people were also getting her treatment, so they were also in need of money. At the same time, Samantha was also planning a vacation, for which she herself worked and saved a lot of money. It is shown that Curtis had kept a lot of useless stuff in his house because he thinks that there's going to be a big destruction in his city, so he wants to make a shelter. He was about to put useless stuff aside when suddenly black clouds fill the sky again. There is a tsunami, and the lightning in the sky suddenly hits the ground, causing Curtis's dog to get scared and start barking. And then he breaks his rope and bites Curtis. As soon as he bit him, Curtis woke up, and we found out that this was also Curtis's dream. But the surprising thing was that in his dream, where the dog bit him, he was still in pain in his arm. Thinking about this, he was not paying attention to his meeting, which made the boss angry at him. Because of the many rains that came to the city earlier, their work was delayed a lot. And now the boss wanted all the workers to work more with Curtis so that his contract is completed on time. The meeting ends, and they all start their own work. When Curtis was working, he sees that birds are flying in the sky in a strange way today. After hearing this, he asks his friend if he saw any birds in the sky. After he answers no, Curtis understands that all these strange things are happening to him. He can see it. After a lot of tiring work, Curtis comes to Hannah's school, where these people were learning sign language. But because of the many hours of work, Curtis was not able to give time to his family, so it took him time to learn sign language. These people now leave the school for home, where it starts raining on the way. Surprisingly, this rain was not of water but of oil. And because of this rain, the vision in front of Curtis got blurred. In this, their car stops, colliding with something, which means they had an accident, in which Curtis's nose was bleeding. His daughter was also scared. And before these people could do anything, suddenly someone breaks the window of Curtis's car and takes his daughter out of the window. Curtis kept trying to save her, but he took his daughter. Suddenly his eyes opened again, and we found out that this was also just Curtis's dream. This time, he was also worried about his dreams. He was also looking very sick, so Samantha got worried after seeing him. But Curtis says, "You don't worry. Maybe I'm having a normal fever. Then I should take Hannah to school at this time." Listening to him, Samantha goes by. As soon as she left, Curtis got to work. He first made a fence outside the dog's house because he had seen in a dream that this dog had caused him harm. After that, when he was fixing his useless stuff, he saw the door of an opened basement. When he opened it and went inside, he got a new idea to make a shelter to avoid the storm. But to make a shelter, he needed a lot of money. In the evening, when Samantha comes home, she shows Curtis that she had saved a lot of money to go on vacation. Curtis wanted to ask her for the money, but he couldn't ask her because Samantha had earned it with a lot of hard work. The next day, there is a storm in their city again. Hannah looked at the storm through the window with a lot of fun. When Curtis comes close to her to love her, he sees that outside the window, a man was looking at Hannah carefully. His intentions were not looking good, so Curtis picks up his daughter and goes away from there. This man started banging on the door of his house. There was also an earthquake there, and all the stuff in Curtis's house began to fly in the air. Suddenly, his eyes opened. This was also his dream. And this time, he was so scared of the dream that his bed also broke. He was nervous. This time, Samantha comes to his room. Both of them had to go to church today. Curtis says, "Sorry, I won't be able to go with you today. Go easy on yourself. I'll take care of Hannah's house." Samantha agrees and leaves. After leaving, he changes his bedsheet and comes to a library with Hannah, where he kept searching for his dreams and his illness, but he didn't find anything special. After that, he took Hannah to a grocery store and he bought a lot of packed food. The next day, a worried Curtis for his condition also reaches the doctor. He told the doctor that he has not been able to sleep for the past 4 days. The doctor says this is not a big deal. Then Curtis tells him, "The real reason is that I am also having very strange dreams. And even more strange is that whatever happens in the dream, even after the dream is over, I can feel it. Like in the dream, a dog bit me, and I am still feeling its pain in my body." The doctor knows that he has a mental issue. He tells him, "This time I am giving you some medicines, which will help you sleep well, but you go and meet a psychiatrist." On the other hand, we see that Samantha was in the insurance company at this time. Because of the health insurance they got from Curtis's job, she wanted to get Hannah's operation done through it. And luckily, her request is also approved. On the way home, when Curtis also goes to get the medicine, he finds out that he is going to get the medicine for free. And he was very happy to hear this. When he came home, Samantha was also happy. Samantha tells him that now they do not need to save a lot of money. Hannah's operation will also be done, and these people will be able to go on a family trip very easily. Curtis was also happy with all these things. Now he goes to the washroom and secretly takes the medicine given by the doctor and goes to sleep. Today, he had a very good night's sleep. No bad dreams came. That's why he was feeling very fresh. And Samantha also noticed this. So he went to work. He talked to his friend about the shelter being built in his house at work. That suddenly, he hears the sound of thundering clouds in the sky. When he looks at the sky, surprisingly, the sky was completely clear there. Even his friend did not hear the sound of thundering clouds. This bothers Curtis so much that his health deteriorates. He starts vomiting. That's why he comes home even after taking a day off from work. He was having panic attacks, which is why he put his car aside. There he saw that someone was selling the container. As soon as he saw it, he got the idea that he could make a good shelter from these containers. But now is not the time for this. The panic attacks that were coming from him, the illusions that were coming, Curtis had to find out about it. That's why he went to his mom's house. Because many years ago, his mom was also suffering from such a disease. She also had panic attacks and strange illusions, because of which she also left the house. Curtis and his brother were raised by his dad alone. And then one day, he found his mom's garbage bin. After that, Curtis and his dad admitted her to a private hospital. Curtis wanted to know from his mom that all this that is happening to him, is it because of his mom? Is it genetically? But at this time, his mom did not remember anything. She did not even remember that Curtis is her son. In simple words, Curtis did not know anything about his disease here either. Now, the next option was to meet the psychiatrist. But his condition was so bad that he could not even drive to Columbus. That's why he calls his doctor and asks him for another option. The doctor tells him to meet a consultant. This consultant listens to him well, but because she was not a psychiatrist, she was not able to diagnose what Curtis had, nor could she tell him anything about his treatment. She also advised Curtis to meet the psychiatrist. Day after day, Curtis was getting scared. His condition was getting worse. He felt that he should make a shelter in any case, for which he needed a lot of money. That's why he mortgages his house. After getting the money, now he also needed some things to make a shelter outside his house. First of all, a digging machine which was on his construction site, but it was his boss's, his company's. It was against the rules to take it to his house and use it. But here Curtis brings his friend with him, and these people start their work. When Samantha sees this kind of work in her house, then there is a fight between her and Curtis. In this argument, Samantha also finds out that Curtis has taken a huge loan of $6,000, which made her even more worried, because these people were not financially stable before. Their expenses were very difficult, and Curtis leaves her alone and goes out, because his condition was getting worse too. He goes to the washroom and takes the medicines given by the doctor, in a dose more than the routine. But today, these medicines don't work either. He again has a scary dream, in which he started screaming while watching. Samantha wakes up after noticing this, and when she shakes Curtis, his nose and ears are bleeding. Seeing this, she got scared. She called the ambulance quickly, but Curtis did not get himself checked by the paramedic team because he felt that all this is completely normal. After their departure, Curtis feels that Samantha is very worried because of him. That's why today he doesn't hide anything from Samantha. He tells her everything. His mental condition, his upcoming dreams, panic attacks, and everything that was happening to him. Hearing his condition, Samantha also got worried. He tells him, "Don't worry, everything will be fine. We will go to the psychiatrist and you will be like before." Curtis goes to his boss the next day and tells his friend to shift from his team to another team because last night in his dream he saw that his life was in danger from his friend. That's why he kept himself away from his friend. Returning from work, he bought 3 gas masks for his family. He came home and shifted his container under the ground. That means he completed his shelter. When he was doing this, his brother came to him to explain to him that whatever you are doing is wrong. There is no need to make such a shelter. But Curtis doesn't listen to him either. At night, he had another dream in which he saw that Samantha was standing wet in the kitchen. She was looking at the knife lying next to her, as if she was about to attack Curtis with the same knife. But Curtis stops her from pointing the knife, and suddenly his eyes open. He got even more scared from this dream, and when in the morning Samantha started touching him for breakfast, Curtis also kept her away from himself. Samantha tells him that your boss has come to meet you outside. His boss brought bad news for him. The things he used illegally from his company to make his shelter, and because of his behavior, he was fired from his job. Now he had health insurance for only 2 weeks, in which he could get his daughter treated. Curtis tries to explain to his boss that doing all this was his helplessness, but his boss doesn't listen to him and leaves from here. This bad news also drives Samantha crazy because they are already not able to afford their expenses. On top of that, Curtis had also taken a loan. Now his job was also lost, and thinking about this all in anger, she slaps Curtis and takes Hannah from there. But this anger was temporary. She knew that Curtis was not well. That's why in the evening, she comes to Curtis with all the money she has saved and tells him to pay off his loan. "I have canceled my beach trip. And yes, about Hannah's treatment, I think we should focus on finding new work so that we can save money and get Hannah treated. Along with yours, listen to me, Curtis, you need a psychiatrist." Curtis agrees with her, after which he and Samantha leave for Hannah's school dinner. At this school dinner, Curtis's friend also came, who helped him in making the shelter. He gets mad seeing Curtis, because he also lost his job because of Curtis. He misbehaves with Curtis in front of everyone, and tells everyone that it is Curtis who told him to do illegal work. He didn't know about the mental condition of Curtis. That is why he was so angry, because when he was Curtis's friend, he thought that Curtis betrayed him by taking him out of his team. Listening to all this, Curtis gets angry and stands up and drops his table. He screams and tells everyone that you all think me mad. It's not like that. What I am doing is right. There is going to be a very bad storm, and for this you all are not ready, only I am getting ready. Saying this, he lost his control, and with a lot of difficulty, Samantha took him to her house. The next day, it felt like all her words were coming true, because the birds in the sky were flying in the same pattern that they used to fly in his thoughts. Seeing this, she saw that Hannah is standing in the middle of the road. He goes and saves Hannah, and suddenly all the birds start flying around her. With a lot of difficulty, she saves her, and suddenly a siren starts ringing here. As soon as he hears the siren, he opens his eyes, which means this was also his dream. But one thing was real, and that was the siren was ringing in the real world. These people look outside, and there was a very bad storm coming. To escape this storm, Curtis takes his family to a shelter and puts gas masks on all 3 of them. These people sleep here. In the morning, when they woke up, they felt that the storm was over. But Curtis was still afraid to open the door outside. He gives the key to his wife and tells her to open the door. This time, Samantha doesn't listen to him and tells him to open the door and face your fear. In fear, when Curtis opens the door of the shelter, the sky was clear and his neighbors were also safe. A few people were cleaning the destruction caused by the storm. Days pass and Samantha brings Curtis to the psychiatrist, and looking at his mental condition, The psychiatrist advises him to stay away from his family for a few days and stay with us. After hearing this, he got scared. He never wanted to go away from his family, like his mom had gone away. He was helpless, and it was a matter of a few days. Samantha tells him that we will not stay away from you for a few days, but Curtis was not ready for all this. He tells Samantha, before this, I want to go on a beach trip with you, the same trip that Samantha always planned. These people go on a trip, and Curtis was spending a memorable time with his family. Then Hannah points to him and tells him that there is a storm coming towards the sea from far away. Seeing this, he became afraid. This was the same storm that he used to see in his dreams. When he turns back, his wife points her head in yes and tries to tell him that everything that he sees is happening in reality. And at the end of the story, this mystery gets solved, that Curtis was actually not sick. He was actually seeing the future and the destruction of the future. To save himself, he had made preparations as well. And showing all this, the movie story ends here. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this movie, then subscribe to the channel and comment which part of the movie was your favorite. Thanks for watching.